Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of A Piece of Ash. This is my, it used to be weekly show, where we talk wargaming, what's new in the industry, what's up with GMG, and what's up with me. I also take questions from the mailbag and from the chat as well. So yeah, it's been a while since I've done A Piece of Ash, and that's mostly been to do with the time of year, and my kids. My kids are getting a little bit old now, for nap time. My son's up and about, pretty much all day. He doesn't like to sleep very much. So right now I've pawned him off with a movie on my iPad, my old iPad, to try and buy an hour. So there's no guarantee he's not just going to bomb out of here at some point in this show and interrupt us. And then we've had a bunch of sick days and snow days. So school's closed. Obviously both kids are home. Daycare's closed too because the daycare closes when the school closes. And I don't get to do A Piece of Ash. So it's been, and of course they've been sick too. And when they're sick, there's just no chance because they're just being sucking down apple juice and chicken noodle soup. And, I'm not going to try and do a live show when they're coughing and running around and not feeling very good. So that's been it. Just life getting in the way. So I think probably what's going to happen in the future is A Piece of Ash is going to have to go back to being monthly. Mostly just because I have not the capability to do it. I do it at the studio if we were wired, but we're not wired for internet because it's just a cost too far. And then it means that the Piece of Ash gets kind of sidelined for other things. So that's it. The show today is going to be about Adepticon 2018. We're going to talk a little bit about my trip down there with Osprey Games, where I will be booth bunnying for Last Days, which is my upcoming game through them, coming out in June, as well as talking all things indie games and all the other various Osprey titles I'm excited about. There's a bunch of things from Osprey that I'm excited about because I've been playing Gaslands like crazy, like you guys can see. We really enjoyed Mike Hutchison's game, all the new stuff from Ghost Archipelago, Lost Colossus, and Frostgrave I'm super excited about. Of course, Dracula's America has a new expansion, which is Hunting Grounds. I'm actually going to be filming some Dracula's America tomorrow night with my buddy Les. He's bringing in some Skinwalker tribes, and I'm going to actually finally play a game with my my Twilight Order. I painted some new models for that as well. And so we're just clipping along. I'll be there hanging out. I know some of the boys from various indie companies that will be around as well are going to be bringing up some accessories and cool new things to show off at Adepticon 2 for various Osprey games that you guys can probably check out there. And of course I'll be letting you guys know about that stuff as it comes closer, but I've been seeing some really cool things coming up, some accessories and stuff to be able to grab for those various games. So let's talk about Osprey and Adepticon. So I'll be arriving on, if you guys are going to Adepticon 2018, obviously it's in the Schaumburg Center, it's Schaumburg, Illinois, in the Renaissance Hotel and Conference Center, and it's the 22nd through the 25th. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'll be arriving on Thursday at midnight. So I'm not leaving my wife for 4 straight days. I'm just going to be leaving her for Friday, Saturday, Sunday because that way she's just got the kids for 3 days. And I'll be flying in late Thursday night, and I'll be there at the booth at Osprey for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Sorry, for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I was trying to say I wasn't there on Thursday. And so you can come by and say hi. I'll have some swag there. There'll be GMG widgets and other things you can pick up. And of course, just doing chats and designer talks for Last Days, as well as demos. I got a super cool demo table I'm putting the finishing touches on right now. I won't ruin it too much, but it's typical horror stuff. Cabin in the woods, bad things happen. It's going to be a lot of fun, but I've designed the demo to kind of showcase what I think is cool about the game. And you may not play the game for very long, but we'll talk about the game and you'll do a bunch of the fun crafting stuff that I think is going to be neat about the game in the demo. So I hope you guys can stop by and say hi and enjoy that. And other than that, what's been going on? Well, we've got new games that we're starting up. Godtear is one of them. Actually, I just did a Let's Play of it with Owen, where he got to try out the game for the first time. At Forgebane Games' new MOBA-style Battler, which has been a lot of fun. Obviously, we've been playing Gaslands a whole bunch. I just finally dug out my starter set for Conflict 47, which I'm going to paint up, which is the American one. Another great Osprey book done in conjunction with Warlord Games. It just... so much to do. There's a new Night Codex coming out for 40k, which I'm super excited about. I've already picked out metal band names for all Little Knights. And I'm excited to do that. And then, of course, there's just been tons of previews that have been coming through. So just new things like Steamforged, Godtear, the bajillion new things Games Workshop's releasing, because they just never stop releasing things. I'll be honest, that's kind of a treadmill. I've noticed myself, and I talked about this at the beginning of the year, how I was putting all the Games Workshop stuff into one day on Wednesdays, unless it was like previously a Throwback Thursday thing, which just keeps it in that bucket. But yeah, I know there's just been like an endless like parade every 2 weeks of like things that the GW is showing off that has been a lot of work, cutting into time. So I'm gonna jump in and say hi to the chats and say hi to all my good friends there that always hang out with me. We got the 8-Bit Jesus, Josh Aikens here, Zach Moore's here, Torben Kasper's here. Who else? Benson Green's here, doing expenses apparently, but not paying very much attention. Esmond Sewer's here, Miso's here. Who else we got? Oh no, I did it again. I went too far forward. Aaron F's here. Charles Salmon's here. John Best is here. Glenn Seymour's here. I think that's everybody. Logan Fraser's here. I'm trying to pick out all the names. Nick's here. Corey's here. Big Friendly Wargamer's here. Steve... Wait, I think I said Steve Hudson. I think he's here. Oh No Meat's here. Did I get everybody? I got everybody. I'm pretty sure I got everybody. And they've asked me all kinds of questions now that I'm going to miss. Because I scrolled from the top to the bottom of the chat, which has just been going without me since I put this video up. Which, of course, makes it hard to go back and keep up with. So to get started, I'll have you guys, of course, fire a bunch of questions in the chat. And while you guys do that, I'm going to jump into the mailbag, which has been moldering away on the side of the road. Unfortunately, I haven't gotten to do one of these since, it's been since, it was the week Kat was really sick. It's like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. Probably been 3 or 4 of these I missed now. I think I missed 3, I'm pretty sure. 2 or 3. Anyway, we're back. For now. Until something else goes wrong. So let's jump in and see the first question from the chat. Who asked this? 1990 is calling, asks, play Battle Masters on TBT. That's not really a question. That's more of a demand. If you don't know what Battle Masters is, Battle Masters was a 1992 game that Games Workshop and Milton Bradley did. They also sort of combined forces back in the 80s to do Hero Quest, which was obviously one of the ones I'm working on, and I'm 90% done painting the miniatures for right now. And it was like a light war game. So it was played on a hexagonal mat, which was this very strange, like, vinyl. It was like crinkly, like it was kind of like, remember old picnic table covers? Like maybe you guys don't, but I do, that would kind of like stretch and be crinkly. It was like that weird, kind of weird waterproof material, and then it had cardboard hexes for like terrain that would go down it, like your trenches and your stakes and things like that. And then the model design was all done by GW. So like there was the Imperial Knights and there was the Chaos Forces, and it was all just stolen from other games. So like there was an ogre who actually ended up getting used in, like that same sort of thing got used in Talisman, and probably got used in Hero Quest too for the Ogre Horde expansion. And then like the Imperial Knights were just like Reiksguard Knights, and there was a cannon that was just Imperial Cannon. It was all in plastic. And actually tons of Battlemaster sets got cut up and used in Warhammer Fantasy because they were relatively cheap for what you got compared to buying like GW models. And it was neat. It was just this like move a space, and then if you're fighting somebody, you're like next to them in a space, you'd roll like X number of dice, and it kind of, I think if I remember correctly, it used like its own procedural dice, kind of like Hero Quest did, where there's like strikes and blocks. So you got, I think on the bad guy side, you got Chaos Lords, you got Chaos Warriors, you got Orcs, Beastmen, who are just identical, they just had different models, and you got Goblins and an Ogre. And then on the human side, you got a Cannon, Knights, Lordly Knights, Men-at-Arms, and Archers, and that was like your two forces. And there was a castle that usually sat up in the middle, and the castle was like this cool train piece action. Tons of Battlemasters castles got painted for Warhammer Fantasy as well. It was a great little box set. But yeah, I don't have a copy of Battlemasters. I never owned it, funnily enough. I think people I knew owned it. And funnily, like people that I knew that never played war games owned Battlemasters because it was a very popular board game at the time. It and Stratego and Catapults and Crossbows and Catapults, which is one where you like fired like little not spring-loaded, elastic band-mounted like guns and knocked things off a castle wall. All that stuff came around at the same time as Willow, and it was kind of like everyone was kind of, there's this castle fantasy fact because Willow was like a hugely popular movie at the time. I remember watching Willow like right when it came out. And I was really young to watch Willow, and it was like my favorite movie of the age, and actually holds up really well. There's a very crazy trilogy of books that Chris Claremont and George Lucas did after Willow that continue the story, and it becomes this like weird post-apocalyptic fantasy. And if you ever want to have your brain kind of melted, go check it out because it's crazy. Good first question, but yeah, no, I'd have to somehow acquire a copy of Battle Masters to play it. But like, I'd totally do it. It would like, again, it would be one of those things where I had to find time to paint it because a lot of miniatures. But we can totally play Battle Masters. The other problem with HeroQuest, one, there's a ton of prep time, and I'm doing it all myself because I really am enjoying painting them. And it's also, there's a DM, and I'm going to be DMing it, so I want to like, I have to collect my posse of people and get them all in the same room together. And like, we have all the people. Like, I know Owen's going to play the elf. Adam from Greenleaf Train desperately wants to play the dwarf. Chris wants to play. Well, I'm going to make Chris play the wizard. Chris from Away the Brush and Mini Wargaming, and then Steve from Mini Wargaming will probably come and play the barbarian because I can't think of anyone better to do that. And then we'll have them play through the adventures because there's like, it's like I could do 14 episodes on HeroQuest. I just need to get all the same people in a room together. So I'll try to do that relatively soon. It's just painting through the green skins, which I'll try and do in the next like week or two. Right now it's all Adepticon prep, but we'll get there, and we'll get there to do the Battle Masters too at some point, I guess. Thank you, 1990 is calling. Let's see what the chat's saying. Josh Aikens says, I asked on Ash's page on Steam Forward Gauge. It looks like the bases for the plates I skip for Godtear are flat edge like GWs. It's kind of weird since skill bars have round bases. Yes, but like, you can change bases. Like, there's no reason not to. All of the, I think the reason they're probably those bevel bases, all the stuff from Dark Souls is all beveled bases. Dark Souls isn't on like War Machine style bases at all. So it just differentiates the brand, really. Like, they don't have to all be on the same base. And it's not the same universe either. Torben Kasperg says, I'm eagerly awaiting a couple of the Scale 75 paints next week or so. Any advice on how to use them with a brush? I use them always with a brush. They are like, okay. I'm hot and cold for Scale 75. I love their metallics. Their metallics are so nice. They stay liquid so great. They stay mixed so great in like the droppers. Viking Gold and Black Metal are like, first of all, like the most rock and roll names ever for paints. And second of all, probably like my two most used paint colors. I don't think I've used a different base coat metallic than Black Gold since I started buying Black Gold. I buy them two at a time because I use so much of it. Or Black Metal, sorry. And then Viking Gold is great too. Necrotic Metal is actually really good as well. I love their metallics. I'm kind of hot and cold on their other colors. They're very flat, which a lot of people like, but they tend to chalk up and get chunky inside the actual things. And I find them popping the nipple off of the dropper bottles and shaking them a whole bunch. So yeah, they're non-metallics. Maybe it's just the amount of pigment in them. I'm sure they're great paints. I almost don't want them to be in dropper bottles because they tend to clog the droppers so much just because of how thick they are and how much pigment's in there. So yeah, shake them like crazy. And they separate a bunch. Mizo and Zach Moore both yelling my name. Thank you. And then they've missed me. I miss you guys too. Glenn Seymour says, good afternoon all. And then we got Torgan still talking about Scale 75s and how great they are, and they are fantastic. Charles Salmon says, what's your favorite wargame right now? Gaslands? That's hard to say. I'm really enjoying playing Gaslands and making cars for it. I'm loving watching it explode because I feel like there was a whole generation of, because it's not the first time I've played a Car Wars style game, and it's not for a lot of my friends either. Like Jay, it wasn't his first time doing it. But it's funny watching people who've never done it before, never like kit bashed scale model or Matchbox cars into fighting cars. Just discover like the joy of going to like the dollar store or Walmart and just like picking through the racks for like, because they're like $1. Like, they're so cheap. I spent $3 on that Rutherford team and $3 on the other Matchbox team I made. And so it's so amazing, like watching people just like light up and go through their bits boxes and freak out. Like Owen totally lit up for it. Mike from Epic Ducks totally lit up for it. And the Facebook group, actually, since we did the Let's Play, I think I had like 1,000 people, 1,100 people probably in Let's Play. I was like 2,500 people now. So like the game's just like, they sold out through Osprey. Like it's a testimony to how a simple game, like it's a very clean game compared to a lot of the old car racing games. Like a lot of the old car racing games were like BattleTech, where like there's a lot of management of your vehicle. Gaslands is a great, simple, you can teach it to kids. Like it's one of those a lot like Relic Blade. It would be a game I would teach my son who loves like Matchbox cars. You know what I mean? Like to play a game. So if you're looking for a great game for kids, I've already recommended Relic Blade a million times. Gaslands is right up there too for like, just, you can get 6 kids and they can have a race and they'll have so much fun doing it. My other recommendation with Gaslands is ignore the rule about touching templates. Just completely ignore it. Throw it out the window. That rule is according to the discussion I listened to between the playtesters and some people in the Facebook group, a version of that was supposed to go in the book, but maybe not that exact rule. So our version of that is when you lay the template down in front of the car, that's when you're stuck with it. So you can't pre-measure. You can't like check to see what your turns are like. You pick a template, and as soon as you lay it down, your vehicle is stuck with that template. Because otherwise, like it's such a very hard rule for a game like that, where like your templates can be in a pile on the table, and you're flipping over just to see which ones you can do. If the first one you touch is the one that you have to use, it makes the game impossible. And it's a lot like turnovers in Blood Bowl. Like, it's a bit too draconian for my taste for a game like that. So yeah, I know I would recommend changing that one rule, but I love it. It's fantastic. I don't know what my favorite game is right now, to be honest with you. I'm just having a great time playing all these different games. Yeah, I can't. What else we got? Zachmore says, about Adepticon, are we going to have our game of Dark Age core that eats Mark and Joe? I don't know if I have time for any games. I don't actually think I'm taking any Dark Age this year. I'm just taking like really small skirmish games and probably lots of board games, because I'm committed to like being at the Osprey booth for a whole bunch of time. And if we do pick up games, it'll probably be like late after like stuff closes. So I'm probably gonna bring Aristay and Shadespire and Gaslands and obviously Last Days, and that's gonna be it. So no pickup games for me, guys. Sorry, I'm doing the games you can just pull a box out at the bar and play. If at all. I'll probably be so tired that I won't want to do any gaming. Just hang out and chat probably after games. Nick says that Gaslands is great. I got all my coworkers hooked. Actually, yes, I should say it's also a great game for non-gamers. Like, because you can literally bring like just a pile of cars. Like, your own collection is enough for everybody to play, because it's just as fun playing with a team against another person as it is playing like 8 people all with one car. So if you just bring a collection of cars, you don't have to do anything other than that, and you're ready to rock and roll. Big Friendly Wargamer says, hey, Ash, I've never caught one of these before. Have you played HeroQuest yet? Oh, I mean, I've played HeroQuest a bajillion times when I was younger, but not the deluxe edition Hero set I'm currently painting up. It's still getting worked on. The Godtear stuff jumped in front of finishing the greenskins off, but the greenskins are going to get finished probably this week or next week. That's the problem, is more new cool stuff just keeps showing up, so it just piles. Like, projects just pile up like crazy. Stephen Houston says, can't wait to hear your reviews and see battle reports for Godtear. Well, you don't have to wait very long, because the Let's Play comes out tomorrow. And the Let's Play is actually just splitting my collection, but Owen's going to be working on his own collection of Godtear champions, so our game after the Let's Play should be when we're able to both pull from a full stable of champions and play a game. And that'll mean that we're not doing like just the 6 champions fighting against each other. We can have like the same champions on each side, and I'll have a full selection of guys. It'll be really cool. Onomat says, yes, HeroQuest. Well, yes, HeroQuest. HeroQuest is coming. Onomeat says, Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, 4th edition's coming out this year, full support by GW. That's cool. Well, they took it back from Fantasy Flight when they broke ties with Fantasy Flight, so I'm not surprised. If I was going to play Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, though, I'd play 1st edition. I go all the way back to the beginning, back when you start as a rat catcher and you go insane in the first 15 minutes. At the end of the session, everyone's an alcoholic or has agoraphobia or something like that, because the insanity, you're just losing sanity points like crazy. It was the worst place ever. Big Friendly Wargamer, Ash, you looking forward to Alfarius that was previewed? I mean, yeah, I'll be honest, like, I don't have the new rulebook for 30k. Alfarius is cool. I'll probably pick him up to paint, but like, 30k fever. It's funny, because 7th edition got to where it got and kind of like bloated and stagnated, people jumped on 30k as an alternative way of playing 40k. Then 8th edition came out, and all those same people, I think, jumped into 8th edition and started playing 8th edition. So it's like, 30k was insanely popular. Like, I was playing 30k all the time back when it was still 7th edition, and it was like the indie alternative way of playing 40k. And now everyone's just kind of like cooled off on it, and all the local 30k groups are kind of just like settled down to like a simmer. There hasn't been the same number of events and people getting together and playing. So I mean, I'm gonna pick them up to paint, but like, I don't have any rush on me because I don't have a whole bunch of people knocking the door down to play 30k. Corey says, what's your secret to pancakes? Make pancakes, cut up bananas. That's it. If you have old bananas, then you mush up the bananas and put them in the batter. If you have nice bananas, then you just slice them into discs and drop in when you put the pancake batter in the griddle. That's the secret to banana pancakes. That and the secret to pancakes is just piles of butter in the pan. Like an unhealthy amount of butter in the pan. The pancakes should basically just be fried in butter, because then you don't have to butter them afterwards, and your kids will just be like, this is the greatest thing ever. I just ate 1,400 calories and, something this big. Armageddon Bound says, what's a great low fantasy minigame to check out? Low fantasy. I would say probably Dragon and Lion Rampant. If you guys watching, low fantasy typically refers to a fantasy setting that doesn't have a lot of magic or monsters and stuff in it. So you would, or like other races and things. Game of Thrones in its even its TV incarnation is considered, I would say, probably low fantasy, because for the most part all of the supernatural things that are happening in that are incredibly shocking to everyone around them, because they are supernatural. They're not normal. It's typically just an iron and muscles world. Whereas, like, in a fantasy setting, you can just accept there's skeletons, yes, there's orcs, yes, there's undead, yes, there's dragons, whatever. Those are things we just know about and happen. So yeah, Dragon Line Rampant are great. They're both by Osprey. There's going to be a, whatchamacallit, a bunch of games, actually, a bunch of fantasy games right now coming out, but they're all fairly fantasy-esque. There's actually a bunch that I actually have to check out at Adepticon, weirdly enough, to tie this back to Adepticon. I'm going to go and look at my emails right now, because you guys recognize the names, and I won't remember what they are. Parabellum Wargames, Conquest, they reached out to me, and they want to have a chat at Adepticon. And it looks pretty neat, Parabellum. It's got they sent me a lore book and stuff to look through. It's still be at stand 707 at Adepticon. They have some really crazy looking models, and it looks pretty cool. They're a European company. And then the other one is Signum. They just sent me an email to check out what they have. It's a Signum game. It looks like a character-driven kind of high fan. Like, there's some monsters and stuff, so I don't really know. But yeah, no, if you're looking for basically using your collection of miniatures in a low fantasy style game system, Saga would be really good, because Saga has some fantasy elements in it. You can play like Draugr and some Viking mythology stuff, but then you've just got all of the historical kind of factions, real life factions that you could just either modify to be in your low fantasy setting, or just use as they are and play in the real world with some low fantasy elements. And it's getting a second edition actually relatively soon, which means I have people I can play Saga with. I didn't realize there's a few local Saga players that actually want to play, but I'll paint my Saga stuff when that second edition I think comes out, because that'll give me a chance. And I think Tomahawk's going to be at Adepticon, and if they are, I'll go chat with them, because I really like Studio Tomahawk. I like everything they make. I really like muskets and tomahawks, and I really like Sagas, so second edition Saga would be something I'd check out. Yeah, those are the ones off the top of my head that are, look neat and are relatively low fantasy. But if you want a good toolkit, sort of a thing, Dragon Rampant, Lion Rampant, or good rule sets, any rule sets from Osprey that you can apply to just about everything. Logan Fraser says, Gaslands, a lot of fun. I didn't think I'd enjoy watching it that much, but it's been great. Yeah, it's been really good. It's been a lot of fun, and it's also a lot of fun to play. I'll be honest, there's games, so you guys ask me what my favorite game is a lot. There's games that it's funny, Owen and I'll play sometimes, or I'll play with almost anybody. Jay and I'll play these games, or Ben from my Malfo videos and stuff will play. And there's games where afterwards I feel like I need a nap. Like in 40K, I almost feel like I need a nap afterwards, because the games are so long typically, and there's so many processes involved. Even like Warhammer Fantasy, I feel like that way a little bit afterwards. War Machine, I definitely feel like I need a nap afterwards. Malifaux, sometimes I feel that way, just because there's a lot of processes involved. But then you play a game like Gaslands, and it's almost like a palate cleanser between meals. Like I can just relax and play Gaslands, because Gaslands is such an intuitive system. Like once you play the game, you have the rules down, and it's just going and playing with cars and making new rules, making new things to drive around with, and going in and actually playing it. I can relax and turn my brain off and play that game. And there's a few other games out there like that I feel like I just kind of chill out and play. I don't have to I have to get in the think tank and try and puzzle break and stuff like that. And there's games I just play enough where that happens. I like playing Infinity, because we've just played so much Infinity that I don't have to think about it anymore. I pretty much know what everything on both sides does. You wouldn't think that from the amount of rules corrections I always get in the comments, but that's just how complex Infinity is. Not that it's complex, but like that's how many possibilities can come up in a game of Infinity, infinite possibilities. That a guy who's played like 100 games of this edition just on video. I probably played well over 100 games just on video between me and Owen's channel, and then like probably half again that many like off, not being recorded. That I still get things wrong. I can play that many games. Either I'm not dumb or, there's just lots of possibilities. Aaron F says those Warglaives look like great models. I do totally agree. I hope the stats aren't disappointing. I actually don't care what the stats are. I'm just excited to have something in the night list that isn't knights. Because, like, I get comments all the time. People just saying, like, they don't like watching my night armies or they don't like watching games with my knights in them. But the knights are incredibly fun to play because they're challenging to play. Because, like, you wouldn't think from like their raw stats they're a challenge to play, but when you can only stand in 4 places on the table in a game that is entirely scored around standing with places on the table, like it's really hard to win the game. And you can only do 4 things a turn basically. It's actually a lot of like planning and trying to figure out what you can do and running the odds in your head, and I really enjoy it. So being able to just play 3 knights but then have like an actual army, like I'm really hoping they sort of second some of the stuff from the Mechanicus list, like maybe the Tech Guard come in as like House Carls or something like that, or your Bondsman, and then the Tech Priest is an HQ, because that would let you take, if those Armiger Knights aren't Lords of War, but they're actually like heavies, you could take a Spearhead then, you could take anything, if you could take Bondsman as troops, then you could take anything all of a sudden. So I'm hoping maybe there's some surprise kits we haven't seen yet, and those will be sort of rolled in later on. What else we got? James Tilly says, Gaslands look great. Sadly, I can't find it for sale. Dude, you live in Canada? Just go to Indigo. Indigo has it online. I'll send you a link on Facebook. You can get it shipped for free to your house. It's like $25. Badlight says, weird that I'm watching this in the bath. Okay. A little bit. I mean, it's not so much. Okay, how about this? It's not weird that you're doing it. It's weird that you told us. That's weird. What else we got? Paulus1 says, Gaslands is brilliant. Growing men going crazy for toy cars is hilarious. Converting a car as a hobby all its own and having a blast with it. It really is. Like the amount of like gear garaging and people like sharing stuff and how do they strip their vehicles and do you like cut off the wheels and pin them, and then like 1,000 little like bits companies like appeared overnight for kit bashing cars. There's like a million companies doing like add-on machine guns and engine blocks and wheels, and like it became almost its own cottage industry. I'm hoping I actually get to cover some of the Winters and Wonders too. I want you guys to see them because I don't think they're not really getting known very well outside of like the Facebook groups. But like there's a whole bunch of little companies right now doing Gaslands like car gubbins, and I want to show them to people because they're so cool. Like there's so much neat stuff. Warped Clip says hi. Zach Moore says he'll play Shadespire. Well, that's cool. We'll see what my days look like. It's going to be crazy. Adam from Really Trend says, you're so old. I just talked about how cool the downboard you made me was, you jerk. He's calling me old. He's old too. I just look old. That's the problem. All my friends, I look like I'm the oldest. I'm not usually, though. Like, you stick me and Chris from Way the Brush in a video together and you'd think I was older than he is. But I'm not. What else we got here? Anthony says, another house rule we use for Gaslands is the scatter die for facing post wipeout after flips. Yeah, you could do that. I mean, it technically says your opponent gets to face you, but when there's multiplayer games, it's usually the guy to the left. I like scatter die. I think scatter die is more random because like your opponents couldn't control where you face. And that's not a bad way of doing it. And if you don't even have know what scatter die means, GW used to sell scatter dice, but you can just use a D10 or D20 and have the point to where you're facing when you roll it. It's an easy way to do it. Oh, what else we got here? Jay Aiken, I had to step away to help a coworker. Did my question with the Godtear bases get answered? Yes. Yes, it did. The answer was they use those bases, the lit bases, for everything in Dark Souls. So I'm sure that if they're getting the same board game producers, like printing companies in China, to print whatever Godtear ends up being, that's why. Because they're probably easier to make, and they'll be the same kind of bases. They'll match. And also bases don't really matter. But they come with lit bases. So I'm sure it'll be okay. Even Ciphering says, yeah, I dumped 30k when 8th edition came out. I play 8th edition, 30k if it were in the 8th edition rule set. It's really funny. I've heard that a bunch, actually. And there's actually a big, if you go look for 30k 8th edition conversion, there's a guy who's like taken on, or maybe it's a group of people. Actually, I don't know that much about it. I don't want to claim it's just one person. But there's a fan-made conversion of everything in 30k to 40k. And I think for the most part, it's based on a lot of the Forge World stats. So like they use those as a jumping off point for all the vehicles, because everything that's in Forge World got like a conversion basically in some of the books, and then they just kind of walk back everything else and give them stat lines and point costs. So I am sure you can find that if you want to play 30k with 8th edition rules. There is a whole fan made thing out there. Benson Green says you can also toss extra pancakes in the freezer and reheat them in the microwave for quick before school breakfasts. That is true. That is true. You have frozen frisbees. Dan Harris says, you ever played the old rule set called Hordes of the Things? I have. I played it at a convention a couple times. It was a really popular indie rule game. There's a couple of different versions. There was Hordes of the Things. There was a sci-fi version of HOT as well, which is like Laser Hordes of the Things or something. I can't remember what it was. But yeah, there's a bunch of them. It's a good little flexible rule set actually for low fantasy. Thanks for reminding me of that. It's a good sort of like flexible set for whatever your model collection is. Big Friendly Wargamer says, I like that Harrison 8th edition of different rule sets. 30k is alive and kicking in Uxbridge in the UK. Well, cool. I'm sure it is. I'm sure absolutely there's 30k groups that are super hot for it. I think just like as a groundswell, it seemed like everybody was playing 30k for a while, especially when like Calth and Prospero Burns came out. There's a big push towards like making this a popular side game, and then when the 8th edition came out, the focus by GW became on that, so kind of like the zeitgeist, I guess, moved on into something else. Good one. Paulus one says, check out Open Combat for low fantasy. Great fun with small model count and good campaign system. There's a Blood Eagle, I think, as well. Open Combat and Blood. Actually, is Blood Eagle based on Open Combat? I can't remember. That's another one. But Open Combat's another really good one for just like sort of taking your collection and putting it together. Even C. Frank says, gonna say hi to Joey at Adepticon. Yeah, of course I'll say hi to Joey at Adepticon. I'm going to give him a big hug. I assume you mean not some random Joey, but Joey from World's End Publishing for this is not a test. But of course I'm going to go give a big man hug to that guy. Steve Hudson says, did you have some good suggestions for single-player miniature games or games that have single-player options? I don't, honestly. It's pretty thin on the ground, except for one I know that's coming up. I can't talk about that. It's a secret squirrels. But there's a cool one coming up. And I'll tell you more about it when I can. Maybe after Adepticon. I have to talk to somebody about whether or not I can talk about it. Dentai Heroes Dungeon says, when can we expect Fallout battle reports? Yay! Oh, I should talk about that. I have to do a big thank you to everybody that participated in the t-shirt drive for Fallout Wasteland Warfare, because on March 1st, which was the last day for pre-orders, put in my pre-order for Fallout. I wasn't able to get the everything bundle, so there's some stuff I don't have. For instance, the gaming mat and the Red Rocket like cardboard terrain. I didn't get like the turrets. I got the tier down, which is basically one of each warband, and then I got the robots, which weren't part of that tier because you can't use them as warbands by themselves yet. And I got the scenery pack, which comes with like the 2 Corvegas and like more than enough scatter terrain to go with what I have to make like a 3x3 game mat. Like, I don't know why you would ever get more than that amount of terrain, because like a 3x3 game mat is not very big, and those Corvegas are relatively large. So with the cool samples that I got sent by John Webb, I've already got the parts of the settlers like actually started up, and as soon as I get my hands on that stuff, I don't think they're going to ship it with the same time as everybody else gets it. So I'll be doing battle reports the same time as everybody else. I don't think I'll get it early, but yeah, no, I'll be doing it for sure. As soon as May rolls around, we start getting that stuff in. And I'm stoked for it because I love Fallout. I'll be honest, like in the race to like there's Star Wars and Fallout coming out, like those are two fandoms that like if there's a competition for my affection between those two, Fallout is like it's just way up here. Like I like the idea of a Star Wars game, and I'll probably cover the Star Wars Legions game, but like it's like it's not even close. I'm gonna go for Fallout probably a lot harder. Bruce Cowan says, this morning while painting some Orlok gangers, I was thinking there hasn't been a piece of Ash in a while. I love listening to it while I paint it. Oh, well, it's great. Thanks, Bruce. I hope you enjoyed it. I just actually finished those Orloks and played a couple games with them on the weekend against a fellow named Luke, who's in from Australia, and they are awesome. They are cool models. What else we have? Oh, a message was hid for review but it's by 8-Bit Jesus show. Yeah, I get like that when I'm playing Death Guard in 40k. There's such a grind, especially in if you make a ton of disgusting resilience saves. Like, why won't you die? Yeah, it's true. They will as much as you love them, they exhaust you, those games. Just because there's so many processes. The chat's catching up to what I was talking about now, so they're talking about getting exhausted playing games. Adam Maxwell says 30k is still pretty big in Northern England. Lots of passionate people who love the game for the fluff and the narrative rather than the competition. I think the high entry price is part of it. Yeah, I think what we've gone back to for 30k is people that were really passionate about it beforehand, where it was like really the hipster 40k, because like it was $100 for a tactical squad. You know what I mean? Like, they're still playing it and they will play it forever. Whereas sort of like the I don't want to say like the fair weather gamers, but like there was sort of like this groundswell of sort of like casually interested Horse Heresy players who were doing it because it was different, it was new, and it was interesting, and it was readily available because you had Calth and Prosper Burns in the store. You didn't have to order these resin models anymore. They've fallen back into other interests probably, and I don't think the 30k community shrunk. I think it's just gone back to being an organically grown one as opposed to a sort of like quickly grown one, a short-term one. Torben Kasperg says, "Hey Ash." Oh no, I skipped past it. Come on back. I try and scroll up a little bit, and it like flies forward, and the chat just like disappears. So I saw Torben's name, I started reading his question, and I tried to scroll up to see the rest of the question, and it like flew away. Where is it? There it is. When are we going to see a Gaslands TNT crossover campaign? Just saying. You might see some combat stuff for This Is Not a Test. That's not Gaslands. I don't know if you know, but Joey's making some cars, and they're pretty cool. So, 28mm car combat game might be a thing. We'll see. We'll see what he talks about. I don't know. I've seen some models though, and the models are cool. And I think they're designed for terrain, but they could very easily be used for something else. Casey Stratton says, Ash, did you kickstart the Game of Thrones game? No, I did not. I don't do Kickstarter typically. Mostly because, well, you want to read an article, go read the Boing Boing article about, Boing Boing just wrote an article about Palladium games and Robotech. That's why I don't Kickstarter games anymore. The Game of Thrones games looks okay. I saw it at Cool Mini Expo last year. Looks alright. It's meh. We'll see. We'll see how it does. Well, maybe we could house rule a Gaslands game with toy boats. You could very easily. You could do spaceships with Gaslands. Like it's not really like if you just want to get your X-wings out and play X-wing with Gaslands. It's not going to be hard to convert those rules to any kind of just like maneuvering based 2D game. It'd be really easy to do. Ultramenta says, Ash, good to see you, man. It's been a while. What are you up to and inspiring you currently? It's just Adepticon prep at the moment, doing stuff for my zombie game. Painting some more of just a scatter train for it to go with the beautiful board that Adam made. And then painting up some survivors to hang out on the table and give you guys some options to try out. And then I've been painting so many different things, just like hopping around projects. I finished a lot of new Shadespire stuff, which I've yet to get to play a game with, which I'm bummed about, because Owen doesn't like Shadespire very much, but Mike from Epic Studios and I have been trying to get together to play a game. The boys at Lords of War, which if you haven't seen in a while, is very simple. They both had kids within like 3 months of each other last year. And so they're both just like it's been wintertime and they have babies, so hibernating mode, and they're both running a store. So again, hibernating mode. I haven't seen them very much. So yeah, I know what's inspiring me lately. It's just sort of like I've been really enjoying the casual games like Malifaux and Gaslands, and I really got into painting War Machine just recently. The Northkin stuff came in for the trolls, and I was just super excited about it. So I cranked out an entire troll army that was some of the Northkin stuff that Professor Press sent me, and then this like huge lot of like Trollblood models that Stephen Kemp sent me. Which again, thank you, because that's where most of the army came from. And playing that War Machine kind of like got that out of my system. And Company of Fire, which I'm still super loving. I played a bunch of that with my trolls too. And then Owen was practicing for the WTC, so he played some practice games with me with that. And yeah, I don't know. That's been it. Like I'm not really currently inspired by anything. I'm just kind of like painting the few models to kind of like make myself happy and and whatever's the next thing coming along. So like I painted a few more models for Dracula's America this past weekend because less is coming down. So I'm kind of just letting the schedule, I guess, just inspire me, and then like figuring out what would I want to do for that next, and then painting that stuff. Evan Zefring says, how do you strip diecast cars? I've bought a few because I'm playtesting the TNT vehicle rules, enjoying in the future, but I have no idea what I'll be doing to get the paint off them. I actually don't even strip mine. I just paint them as is because I just prime over them, and as long as you let the primer dry for like 24 hours, you shouldn't have a problem. If you want to strip them though, any paint stripper, like just like whatever paint stripper you buy down at your local like hardware store, is totally fine. Leave it in there overnight, scrape all the paint off, and then a bath of like simple green the night after that, actually just to take the paint stripper off. And then just scrub in water, let them dry, towel them dry, and let them dry for like an hour or two, and you're ready to prime. Should be fine. It's not hard. Ono Meat says, you did Bushido a while back, you can do more. Onis are great in that game. Yes, they are, and I probably will. Bushido's one of those games where like we have a couple factions, and again, it's mostly driven by the interest of like the people that want to come and play it with us. We play it every now and again when we're, like what happens with those games usually is we'll be like, let's play something different. Let's play something we haven't played in a while, and we'll break that game out and play it. Or someone will come in who's super excited about it, and we'll play those games with them. So it's been a while in the rotation since we were just like, oh, we haven't played Bushido in a while, let's play Bushido. But not a lot of people have been coming in to play. So it just hasn't been one of those games where we've just kind of like cracked it open just cause in a while. But we should do that because I do like Bushido a lot. I got some ninjas to finish painting. Clicker Scripty says, hey Ash, something that came to mind today is most of them who made something that came to mind is most of them who made videos for Mini Wargaming is making their own channels like Steve, Owen, and you. What's that about? Just curious. Well, Owen and I both left Mini Wargaming and just kept doing it. So we're different. Steve is just doing it while he's at Mini Wargaming. So I think he's just doing it to like do stuff he likes. You know what I mean? Like to do stuff that's like not for work. I can totally understand that because like when you're doing the same thing every day, you kind of want to do something that's just for you. So he's just doing his own channel, I think, to have like his own hobby time. You know what I mean? Like he still likes making videos, but he wants to do them about stuff he's excited about, and why not? Why, he's got everything there to do it. They're gonna let him use like all that space and stuff. Why not do it? Sounds like fun. Misa Misa says, have you seen the last GW financial news? Their share price has doubled and the company's doing very well. Thoughts? Well deserved. Yeah, it's totally well deserved. They drove their sales up like crazy. Good for them. 8th edition was a huge smash. I think what the difference is GW has finally figured out modern marketing, and they've hired a bunch of young people to do modern marketing techniques. So they have a community team that's fantastic. They're using social media well. They're using the internet well. Their YouTube channel the YouTube channel has been around for like 5 years. And in the last year and a half, it's more than like quadrupled in size. They had like 50,000 viewers or something like that in like 2016, and now it's like almost 200,000. So it's like in a year and a half or something like that, you quadruple your viewership on YouTube. Like everything they're doing is growing their footprint of influence on the internet, and I think they've realized like that's where young people are shopping and getting their opinion of us. Let's take control of that narrative. Let's bring all these big YouTubers behind the curtain and give them stuff, and then they'll talk about how great our stuff is too, or at least they'll be talking about, even if it's not good, they'll be talking about our stuff. It doesn't even matter if the conversation's good or not, as long as the conversation's loud and it's about you have this giant presence. And yeah, they've just dominated that conversation forever, like for the last like 2 or 3 years. And big releases have come out from other companies, but it's been like trying to shout about how great your new release is in the middle of a hurricane, because there's just massive conversation happening about Games Workshop. So they have figured that out and locked it down, and it's resulted in tons of sales. Like they have really good press. Because they have all the press and the conversation's almost always about them. If you just look at if you watch Wargaming videos and you look at your bar on the side, you're just going to see like a million different videos about GW stuff. And they're not even like, it's funny because what I found like in the last 2 years, videos about Games Workshop on the like YouTube especially have become less about doing the hobby and more about talking about doing the hobby. Does that make sense? Like, it's more like what I'm doing right now, not what like the 99% of what I do is, which is you guys see me actually like participating and doing the activity of the hobby, like painting something or playing a game. it's more about like theorizing or talking about like it feels more like what the video game market narrative is. You know what I mean? Like it's like hypothesizing about what the next video game could be. This video has 800 million views because it's like, here's the 3 lost things in Fallout 4 that were never found, and here's a picture of boobs. Right? Like, I feel like that's what wargaming videos, especially 40K and Age of Sigmar videos, are turning into on YouTube. There's a lot less people doing the hobby and a lot more people just talking about the hobby in various kind of like I don't say baity, but news blurb, infotainment kind of ways. There's a lot of infotainment, I guess, right now in wargaming media, which I'm like, so I should be interested in it because I can see the effect of like what that has on like viewerships and stuff like that. Like people are so excited to be infotained, but like I don't have any interest in doing that one. So like I'm too old. If I'm not doing the hobby, like why am I doing this? I'd rather be doing the hobby and bringing a camera along because I don't want to infotain myself. Jay Aiken says new Infinity JSA box looks nice. Yeah, it looks super nice. Super duper nice. Isn't Bushido's 2nd edition in the works? I thought we were playing Bushido's 2nd edition. I think 3rd edition would be in the... I don't know. Be interesting to see how the Yuching play shifts when the JSA profiles disappear. Yeah, it's going to be interesting because there's some stuff that's definitely going. Like the Oni Wildbuns are going to go. The ninjas are probably not going to go. I'm betting the ninjas don't go because they're criminals and because they have no loyalty. The ninjas will work for whoever pays them. So I bet some stuff's still going to cross over, but I'm sure you're right. There's going to be some profiles. Like the Domers will probably disappear. I never used them though. Like, I'll be honest, the Imperial Army stuff's pretty great. Like, if you're playing like standard Yuching or Imperial Service anyway, you weren't using most of those profiles, and the stuff that is from the Japanese sectorial that will probably stay, like the ninja and stuff, I think they're going anywhere. I think they're staying right where they are. Dean McLaughlin says, hey, Ash and dudes. Hey there, Dean McLaughlin. Zach Coste says, Saga. Yes, Saga 2nd edition. There was some talk about it. Blood Eagle's good based on Her Majesty's name. Cool. What else we got? Onomite says there's boobs. Ultraman says here's Fallout. Here's a picture of boobs. Ash Parker 2018. Well, it's true. Like it's funny because when I started searching Fallout videos for like color schemes, I was trying to paint some of the Fallout miniatures that I had. I was trying to find a picture of Nora, and it was like every picture of Nora was just like it was like the Fallout mod people don't want you to see in video games. It would just be like this random Fallout mod, and then a picture of like a half scantily dressed like Fallout 4 character, and you're like, what? Like, this is infotainment, you know what I mean? It's like the WWE of like YouTube videos. I don't know. Steven Hudson says, I hardly watch videos to the end. Am I missing boobs? Probably not. I'm just talking about baiting people with the it's how people bait with like the whatchamacallit, the thumbnail for their videos. It seems to be like a big thing in video game culture is all the video game videos have some kind of like bait in the picture. Fatus Rat says, hey boys, did you already talk about Last Days? I did, yes. I talked about Last Days at the beginning. If you want to go back to the beginning and hear about what I'm doing at Adepticon this year. Glenn Seymour says, Shadespire is a great example of Games Workshop making progress. I 100% agree because it's a new game. I love when Games Workshop makes new games. They don't rehash from their old games. They don't repackage something they've already done. They make a totally new rule set and new rule system. They should be so proud of Shadespire because it's such a different market. It's such a different type of game. And they've done a really good job of it. It's stuff that they actually used to make through a small subsidiary called Sabretooth. They're now doing in-house and putting like the full weight of the design studio behind it, and I'm so stoked. I'm like, there's 2 warbands left basically. There's the Blood Warriors and the Vanguard for this edition of Warhammer Underworlds, and they're gonna move on to a new edition of Warhammer Underworlds, and I can't wait. I can't wait to see what they do next. I love Shadespire. I'm stoked to see what the next one is. It's gonna be awesome. John Rick says, have you seen the new Forgebane? No, I don't even know what that is. Shadespire is a great example. GW looking outside and seeing what's going on and acting on it. Yes, I think that's what you're seeing is a Games Workshop. They're actually, I think what's really happened is they've taken a generational step. They have a young CEO, much younger than the previous CEOs. Just from even like a looking at how marketing and business works around them. They've got young staff. Like most of the guys that work in like the Warhammer community team are like 10 to 15 years younger than me, probably. Right? Like, and that means that they're more in tune with the people who should be watching their videos, the young people who they're trying to capture as customers. And what I think they've made a conscious effort to embrace a sort of more vital young mentality in how they make and how they sell their products. I think that's super exciting. I'm very into that because it means change, and embracing trying new things and experimenting. Because I think Games Workshop's at its best when they're pioneering, they're being adventurous, they're making new things. And so much of their success is based on that, even in ways that you can't even really see day to day. Like, they're pioneering just in how like mold making and miniature production worked. Like, they were the first people doing like 3D modeling, you know what I mean, as like a way of producing miniatures ages before, you know, most other companies were doing it, and it became super popular. And so that is when I think they are at their finest. And you've seen, I think they're reaping the rewards of being adventurous and taking risks and trying new things and making new things, which is great. Where we got the wonders of clickbait. More things in the chat. Shade's probably done this week, and AOS is ready to go. I think I'm going to stick with Nurgle now that Mackie books are out. We're just talking about what they're working on. Jose, sorry, that was Jose. Wow Cardenas. I hope I said that right. What's your opinion of Blitzbowl? Do you think they'll make a 40k version of Shadespire? I don't know what they'll do for Warhammer Wonderworlds next. I think it'd be cool if they did, because Warhammer Wonderworlds doesn't necessarily have to be Age of Sigmar. Blitzbowl's a lot like Crunch. So Crunch was a light version of Blood Bowl from like the late 80s, early 90s. And this is just Crunch. Crunch with a cooler name, basically, Blitzbowl. And it's based on actually the lunch Blood Bowl rules that were made in the studio called Blood Bowl 7s. And Blood Bowl 7s was released in Blood Bowl magazine ages and ages and ages ago. And it's just a 7-a-side version of Blood Bowl. So it's just a fast play version of Blood Bowl. And I will totally play Blood Bowl 7s. So I'm really hoping I get to check out a set of Blitzbowl, because that and the new Necron Tomb adventure game for Space Marines, because those both look really cool. And Blitzbowl looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. Torben says, one thing that really irks me about Neo GW is they've scheduled Necromunda for release, especially after seeing Gang War 2. I actually really like it. I'll be honest. There's part of me that's like, oh, cool, you know, like, I've got all these Necromunda gangs. I'd love to play with all my Necromunda gangs at once. Well, I can, because they put everything up for free for the Legacy gangs. The other half of me goes and looks at that whole like release schedule for chopping up all the releases for gangs for Necromunda as a really good thing. It doesn't mean it all just comes out up front and then gets forgotten about in 6 months. I want there to be every 3 months a Necromunda release for the next like 5 years. And I want them to do the Water Guild and all these cool new things and keep me surprised and keep making plastic kits. I don't want Necromunda to be a thing that it all came out in 18 months and then just disappears. And that's how Necromunda was. You might have kept playing it for 20 years, but Necromunda wasn't in stores after 4 years, and they released it again in 2003, and it was gone inside a year and a half. I don't want Necromunda to be this thing that comes out and disappears. I want it to be on the website for a long time, and I want it to be staggered releases so they can keep just generating interest. Because every time a release comes out, it means that people that didn't try it might get hooked in and go, oh, I'll join this Necromunda League. I'll start playing Necromunda. It just means more players for me, more longevity for Necromunda, and more reason for them to keep it on the roster, basically, because it'll continue to make money because they have new releases for it. So I see it as a good thing, but my brain doesn't work the way that normal gamers' brains work, where they're just like, I want my things that I want now. I look at it as I've been in this industry. I know how this works. I want there to be an ongoing reason for them to support and keep creating things for this game. And that's a good thing, that you want that stuff to be coming out over a long period, because it means that you're going to get more little other releases in the middle. Like, you know what I mean? You're going to get more like of these little like Forge releases of like Gore Halfhorn and the Squat and stuff like that. Like, as long as there's a steady, repeatable process for how they're bringing stuff out, it'll be around. Mizumi says, yes, CEO is young, and he's been in the company for 20 years. It's a very good combination. Yes, it is. Kevin's a great guy. John Rick says, Forgebane's a new box set. You answered, and then I scrolled too far away again. I hate this so much. With the new Imperial Knights and Necrons. Huh. Forgebane's a new box set with the new Imperial Knights and Necrons. I have not heard anything about that. Cool. Is it a new star set? I guess they're doing one of those like Wolf Claw style star sets. That'd be cool if that happens. Patrick Camosa says, do you think it'd be easy to get someone who plays MOBAs like Dota 2 and League of Legends on PC to play Shadespire? I plan to get a starter and bait my flatmates with it. I think so. Yeah, I think they could. I think that Aristea and when it comes out, this Godtear game are great bridges into Wargaming for those types of players because there's enough stuff to tech, right, to tweak in the warbands. That it's got fast enough replay value that those types of games, I think, you'll have some appeal basically. James Dean says, Ash, I'm making counters right meow. What counters will I need for the last days? You want to start off with supply counters, which are like 25 mil bases or whatever size you want them to be, basically, that have like piles of gubbins or just say supplies on them. You want at least 6 of those. You're going to want to make something that says noise, something that says knockback, and something that says ammo. And then that's it. Those 3 things. And if you can make them so you can write them on a dry erase marker, or if they have dials that go up and down a number, then that'd be even better. Aaron F says, 40k Shadespire could sell when a small scale lends itself more to fantasy genres, while the 40k universe tends towards grand epic scale battles. Who knows? Alright, we're at 157. We're almost done. Post 1 says, Ash, would be great if you and Jay did something with open combat, perhaps looking outside the box. I would check it out. Nice thing about Adepticon is I usually get to walk around all the vendors, and if they've got stuff I don't have or I haven't seen, I'll chat with them, and we'll look at new stuff like that. What else do we have? I'm looking for a good last question. People are all chatting with each other, so it's kind of hard to find rules. I can't find it. Oh, Forgebane, that is. It's on the community site. Okay, well, there we go. Let's go look at one last thing. Forge Games Workshop community. There's a good last questions because I'm excited about the new Necron stuff. Forgebane, a new starter set. Warhammer community. Warhammer community website. Forgebane. Oh, that's cool. Forgebane coming soon. It's got dudes in it. Oh, cool. So it's the 2 new knights. Oh, and a bunch. I play both these armies. Oh, cool. So it does. I was right. That's hilarious. I was right. All the things I said a minute ago, I was right. You get a Tech Priest Dominus, and you get a unit of Skitarii, and you get the new knights. That's hilarious. And Forgebane, 2 venerable entourage clashes supremacy in Forge Worlds, following the openness of the Cicatrix Maledictum. In the box set, you'll find 2 armies, along with rules for playing them, in a new chapter in the lore of the Warhammer 40k universe, as a mechanic has discovered the secrets of a Blackstone Fortress. Oh, great. They're bringing back the Blackstone Fortress. Here, I'll put up the picture right now so you guys can see it. Here we go. This is, I mean, you're probably all over there right now, but people are going to watch this in the future. And this way, I can actually show this in the video. Oh, pictures. Everybody loves pictures. And let's add a picture from file. So yeah, it looks like you're going to get a Tech Priest, a unit of like Skitarii, and then the 2 of the new Knight Armatures, which probably means that like the new Knight Armatures come in a 2-man box, which I'd be excited about. All right, here we go. Let's show you that. So there it is. Forgebane. Yeah, that's a thing. Is this the one we want to look at? It's that one? Okay. Yeah, so there's the 2 armatures. You're going to get a little quick start rulebook. You're going to get the background thing. And it looks like some other stuff too. I like it. You get Necron new characters. So it looks like they're just doing a new character for the Necron. They're going to do a box of, oh geez, what are those? Hang on. Let's do that. Let's make this big so you guys can actually see it. A box of the, what's today? Today is this day. Oops. Yeah, you can see this big. There it is. So yeah, you're going to get the Forgebane little background ebook. You're going to get a Knight Armature. You're going to get, Paradise Armatures. You get the little, looks like the Rangers box with the sniper rifle and stuff. Tech Priest, that's that new Crypt deck that they're spoiling too. And then you get some Lich Guard, some Immortals, and some Wraiths. That's pretty hot looking. I don't know. What do you guys think? I'll paint that. That literally is 2 of my armies in one box. I'm pretty stoked for that. And I definitely think that like having these little story boxes is a cool thing for GW to do. I'm down with the story getting expanded through like these narrative play sets, because I think it just adds more value to giving out the history sort of like a way that is fun to like engage with. You know what I mean? Like I thought Wolfclaw did that pretty well. I'm gonna bring this back up on the screen so everybody can see it. Wolfclaw did that really well, and so did was it Wolfclaw? Stormclaw, I think was the name of the one with the orcs and the Space Wolves, and there was the one with the Tyranids and Blood Angels too. Both just like cool books. I'm stoked about that. That's gonna be really neat. I'll be into that box. So anyway, I think we're done. Yeah, it's 2:01. I gotta go get the girl in 30 minutes. Which means I gotta go wake up the boy and make sure he's got pants on and stuff like that. So good chat. I hope you guys enjoyed that. The next piece of Ash, it's probably going to be a month. We'll see how next week goes, but the girl's on March break next week, so it's probably not going to happen. Other than that, you can get me through my Facebook page, which is facebook.com/outofthebasement-of-the-streets. If you're on Patreon, just message me through Patreon. Or you can, of course, drop me an email at guerrillaminiaturegames@gmail.com, and I'll answer your questions there. So anyway, I hope you guys have a great day. We'll see you guys in the future for more A Piece of Ash, and or just chat with me online in the comments or on my Facebook page. So until next time, Ash, have a great day.